All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the final part of Marketing in a Digital World. This one is going to be focusing all about the effective digital marketing channels that you can use for your business. Before we jump into that, though, I'd like to talk a little bit about SCORE and who we are. So SCORE is a nationwide nonprofit organization that is an independent resource partner of the United States Small Business Administration, or the SBA. SCORE provides America's small businesses with free confidential business mentoring in person and online, business education services like local workshops, and 24/7 online resources, as well as these types of webinars. We have over 300 chapters around the nation, 11,000 plus volunteers, and over 1,500 communities. So Manasota SCORE, which is our chapter, has served Sarasota and Manatee counties for over 50 years, excluding the Northport area, which is part of the Port Charlotte chapter. We currently have a little over 80 members, and we have 250 plus new businesses that we have helped start, 700 plus new non-owner jobs created, as well as 10,000 plus mentoring and workshop services delivered. And we've helped over 800 unique clients, 43% of which are in business. Now, we can help your business no matter what stage in your life cycle you're at, whether you're a pre-startup, you're just, trying to figure out how to set up your business. If you're in the opening phase, if you've been in business for a while, you're looking to grow your business, or if you're needing some help, or even if you're looking to exit your business and sell it, we can help in any stage of your business's life cycle. And we would also like to thank our sponsors, because without our sponsors, we really wouldn't be able to do all of the things that we're able to do inside of our community. So a big thank you to everyone who helps make this happen. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into our final Marketing in a Digital World presentation here. And again, like I said, we're going to be talking about effective digital marketing channels that you can use for your business. So we're going to go over the foundations. We're going to go over our week 1 and week 3 recaps. We're going to look at how you can market to intent-based customers, going through your Google My Business listing, pay-per-click advertising, and search engine optimization. We're going to look at how to market to passive customers through social media marketing and social media advertising. And then we're going to look at email marketing as well to hit up some retargeted marketing and some other items that email marketing is very helpful for. Now, when it comes to digital marketing, everything we're going to be talking about goes into the channel section of the business model canvas. So if you already are a SCORE client, this should be very familiar to you. If not, this is one of the first things that your mentor will go over with you. And it pretty much just helps you get your business idea out on paper. So next, we're going to go and talk about what digital marketing is. So digital marketing, also known as internet marketing or online marketing, is just utilizing digital channels to market your brand, services, and products to potential customers. And the primary goal of a digital marketing campaign is to drive traffic to your website and then convert that traffic into paying customers. So we need to look at the foundations first before we can actually begin in a digital marketing campaign. Okay? And the first thing that we need to do is you got to do some research, both about you and your company itself and on your competitors. And the first thing that you should probably figure out is, what is your unique selling proposition or your USP? Now, again, Jack went over this in great depth on the first week of this presentation. So if you missed that presentation, make sure to go to our website, manasota.score.org. We record all of our webinars so that you can go and you can rewatch that to figure out how you can build your own USP. But to summarize week 1, your USP is what makes you different or better than your competition. And the way that you can find this or try to help find your USP is by performing a SWOT analysis to help you learn about your S words. And your S words are your strengths, right? So out of your strengths, you're going to be able to build your unique selling proposition that's going to tell your end user, your customers, why they should choose you over your competitors. What makes you better than them. Next, what we have to do is we have to create a customer avatar or a buyer persona. And we went over this on week 3. So your customer avatar is basically just your ideal customer, right? You want to try to be as in depth as possible because you're trying to create a person. And some things that you want to look at are demographics. So what is their age, their gender, their location, their income, etc., and their psychographics as well. So what are they interested in? What are their behaviors? What are their buying habits? What are their hobbies? So if you want to learn a little bit more about how to understand your customers' demographics and psychographics, again, go to our website and watch our week 3 presentation. But from that, you're going to be able to build out this customer avatar so that you can pinpoint exactly who you're trying to target during your marketing campaign. Now, with that being said, the first thing we're going to look at is going to be your website, right? Because it all starts here. Your website is the foundation of your online presence. It's going to be the central hub for everything that you do online. And again, the goal of your website, just like a digital marketing campaign, is to provide information to the visitors and then to convert them into paying customers. So you want to think of your website not only as a tool of information, but also as a marketing tool. And you have to make sure that your foundation is solid before engaging in a digital marketing campaign. You don't want to be sending a bunch of people to your website if your website's broken, if it loads slowly. So, what I like to do is I like to look at these key points here to make sure that your website is up for a digital marketing campaign. So again, modern design, responsive design, scalability, speed optimization, clear communication, a clear USP, and to make sure that your website is optimized for conversions. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of a deep dive into each one of these. So making sure that your website has a modern design. It's common practice to have your website redesigned every 3 to 5 years to keep up with modern trends. Your website is or will be the first impression of your business for the majority of your customers, especially if you're doing a digital marketing campaign. Your website is going to be that first point of communication with your business. So you want to make sure that you're giving off a good first impression. Now, the visitor is going to perceive an outdated website as an outdated business. So you want to make sure that when a customer comes to your website, they feel at ease, they feel relaxed, they feel comfortable navigating your website because it's following modern design trends. Now, that 3 to 5 years for the redesign, that doesn't mean you have to completely overhaul your website every 3 to 5 years, but you at least want to go in and tweak some things and see, what's popular in your industry. What are your competitors doing on their websites? And that'll give you an idea of sort of the design language that you should use for your own website. Responsive design. Having a responsive website ensures that no matter what device the user is looking at your website from, it looks good and it functions properly. There are more users browsing the web from mobile devices than there are from desktops. So, right now, the current good practice is to have a mobile first mindset when designing a website. Now, if you're selling to an end customer, so if you're a B2C company, you the majority of your customers are going to be coming from mobile devices, whether it be tablets or phones. Now, if you're B2B, if you're selling to other businesses, then the majority of your traffic is going to be from desktop. So that's just something to keep in mind when you go and actually look at your website. If you're B2C, go on your website on your phone. Does it look good? Is it functioning properly? Is the layout, okay, or do you need to go in and make some tweaks? So it's just really important to make sure that your website looks good on any size device. Next is scalability. So when designing your website, it's important to think about the long-term goals of your business. Those goals will ultimately include digital marketing. Now, building your website on a scalable system like WordPress allows you to seamlessly grow your website with your business. This eliminates the need to implement new systems every time you have to redesign your website. Now, when you're first starting off your business, there's nothing wrong with going to like Squarespace or Wix or Webflow as a sort of do it yourself solution just to get a website up there. But really, when you want to have an effective digital marketing campaign, nothing really beats WordPress. WordPress is built to scale. I've personally run multi-million dollar websites on WordPress. So it can scale with your business as you grow your business, so that you never have to move from Squarespace to WordPress and then to Shopify or Etsy or something like that. WordPress is going to be able to scale your website with your business. And now, what I mean by scale is that, there's a ton of digital marketing plugin integrations that you can use with WordPress that just makes the integration seamless and much easier, especially when it comes to things like search engine optimization, which is imperative, if you want your website showing up inside of search engines. Well, with these sort of do it yourself platforms, they don't really have robust SEO functionality. They have very basic bare bones functionality. But with WordPress, there are plugins dedicated for SEO that give you a lot of in depth editability and customization for an SEO campaign. Another thing to look at too is Google Analytics integration, um, other types of integration, let's say like Hotjar, which is a user experience plugin. And that allows you to actually record your users and see how they're interacting with your website, so that you can make improvements based on how your actual customers are interacting with that website. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with having a website on Squarespace or one of those do-it-yourself platforms, but when you're looking to start a digital marketing campaign, you really want to make sure that your website is good to go, and that it can handle the amount of visitors that you're trying to push to it. Next is the speed optimization. So users today have very, very, very short attention spans, and you need to make sure that your website loads as fast as possible. Long loading times will end up with users leaving your website and going to your competitor's website. Up to 3 seconds is the ideal loading time for a web page. Websites with shorter loading times are also favored by Google when it comes to SEO. So short load times improve your SEO rankings, as well as just being a good user experience. Now, this is just an example here of a website, asu.edu. And this is a free tool that anybody can use. I personally use this all the time to measure loading speeds on websites. It's called gtmetrics.com. If you just Google GTmetrix, it'll be the first link. And all you have to do is just copy and paste your URL and then hit run, and it'll give you all of the information on that particular page. And what's really neat about this is that not only does it tell you how long it's taking for your web page to load, it also gives you what's called a waterfall, where you can see every single item that has to be loaded on your website in order for the page to be fully loaded. So, this tool allows you to kind of pinpoint exactly what it may be that is possibly slowing down your website. Next, we want to talk about clear communication. So make sure the user knows exactly what you do or you provide, and you don't want to make them guess. Now, this is from personal experience before. I had a client come to me. They were a pool company that built custom pools. They built and designed custom pools. However, they were saying that when people came to their websites, they weren't getting any leads from their website about custom pools. So I took a look at their website, and it looked like a sort of pool supply store. You could go, you could buy your chlorine, you could buy your salt, you could buy pool toys and all sorts of different pool items, but it wasn't very clear that they actually built and designed custom pools. So it's just something to think about with your website. It's just having clear communication. And it's as easy as having one of your friends go to your website and just ask them to do, what are you getting from this website? Is my communication clear? Does this make sense? Is it very easy to understand what it is that I can provide to the customer, whether it be services or products? And again, this is something that your mentor can help you do too, through SCORE. Clear USP. Now, again, we talked about what the USP is. It's your unique selling proposition, and it's why a customer should choose you over your competitors. Do you have special incentives for customers? Do you have a unique system or process that no one else has? You want to flaunt your USP on your website, because this is kind of like your selling point for your business, right? This is why they should choose you. So you want to make sure that your USP is on your website. And then the last thing that you want to look at is to make sure that your website is optimized for conversions. And there's a very simple way to remember this. It's an acronym converts, right? So you want to have a clear call to action. You want to have an offer. So what it is that you're trying to offer a customer. You want to have a narrow focus. So you want to make sure that if somebody landed on a page talking about one service, that all of the information on that page is about that one service. You don't want to have you don't want to be talking about a bunch of different services that really don't have any correlation to the page that they're on. You want to have a very narrow focus. Your VIA, or your very important attributes, again, this is kind of like your USP. What sets you apart from your customers, or what sets your product apart from a similar product? You want to have an effective headline, something that's kind of attention grabbing, but yet, makes sense. A resolution savvy layout. Again, this is just making sure that your website looks good on all different sizes of devices. Tidy visuals, and then social proof. So social proof is going to be a big thing when it comes to selling your services or your products, because when somebody is looking for a solution to their problem, they want to see that you have helped other people solve that exact same problem. So on your website, you want to have reviews, you want to have testimonials, and just make sure that you have that social proof on your website so that other people feel more comfortable hiring you or purchasing your products. So now that we've got our foundation set, we're ready to go. We've done all of our research. Our website's up for the challenge. Now we're actually going to start marketing to people. And the first section we're going to talk about is marketing to intent-based customers. Okay, so an intent-based customer is somebody who is ready to buy. They know what they're looking for. They're just trying to find somebody, or they're trying to find the best option to get what they're looking for. And the first one is through search engine marketing. And search engine marketing allows you to market your business directly to those intent-based customers. And again, like I said, an intent-based customer is somebody who is already in need of a service or product and is using a search engine to actively find somebody who can provide it to them. And this is great as it bypasses half of the sales process. You're not having to actively sell to people. People are coming to your website just through search engines, right? And again, that's why SEO and just search engine marketing in general is so powerful, because the people coming to your website already know they need what you can give them. Now it's just up to you and your website to provide the reason why they should choose you. Now, which search engine should you market on? And the short answer to this is to start with Google. Google makes up 87% of search engine market share. There are 5.8 billion searches per day on Google versus 340 million searches per day on Bing. And that's not to say that you should only market on Google. Eventually you'll want to start to market on both and even more, including, Yahoo. But starting out with Google is going to be your best bet. And there are three main ways to market your business to intent-based customers in search engines. And we'll be focusing mainly on Google, again, because it's the most dominant search engine. However, these concepts are universal when it comes to marketing across all search engines. So the first thing we're going to look at is a Google My Business listing. So all of the major search engines have their own versions of business listings. But again, we're going to focus on Google today. Pay-per-click advertising, which is also known as search ads, and then search engine optimization. Now, Google My Business is probably the first thing that you can do to start showing up on Google. And the best part is that it's free, right? So your Google My Business listing can get your business in front of local customers in as little as 4 to 5 days. So to start, you just want to make sure that you have a Google account, and then go to business.google.com. Okay, so from here, Google will take you through the process of adding content to your listing, and you want to make sure to completely fill out your business listing. The more information you have in your business listing, the better it's going to work inside of the search engines. And you want to make sure you upload a bunch of pictures, logos, work in progress photos, pictures of your products, pictures of team members, your office spaces, upload videos if you have any. and make sure to just completely fill out your profile. And Google does a pretty good job of kind of holding your hand through the whole process. Now, where does the Google My Business listing actually show up? Well, if you're looking for a landscaper in Sarasota, or any type of locally based service, you're going to get a map with a bunch of listings, right? So what this is the Google My Business listings right here. And what Google's trying to do with this is it's trying to serve its user the most relevant business in the area that you specified or the area that you're searching from. Now, one of the main ranking factors for this is going to be your ratings, how many ratings you have, and your average rating. So, the higher your ratings and the more reviews that you have, the better you're going to rank inside of this area. So, it's very important to at least have your Google My Business listing created. Um, so that you can start showing up locally if you are a locally based service business. Now, even if you're not a local business, let's say if you're a national business or a global business, um, make sure that you still have your Google My Business listing here because it's going to affect your SEO. If you have a verified business listing on Google, it automatically helps your website start to rank organically because Google now knows that, hey, this is a legitimate business. It's linked to your website. So this website is part of a legitimate business. And it just helps overall rank for your website. So even if you don't serve locally, if you're, again, a national, global, you sell services, whatever it may be, you want to make sure that this is the first thing that you do. Now, the cool thing about Google My Business is that it gives you a dashboard with a lot of excellent insights into the performance of your listing. You'll also get monthly performance emails with suggestions on how to improve your listings. So, this is an example of a client of mine from about a year ago, I think. And we can see how many views it got in the month, how many searches it showed up for, how many people actually, clicked inside of the business listing. We can see the performance improvements based on search views and map views. So there's a lot of really good stuff that you can do in here. And again, it's all free. So next, what we're going to do is look at pay-per-click advertising. And pay-per-click advertising is the second best way to market on search engines to engage your intent-based users. So this works like an auction. You choose the search terms that you want to show up for and set a bid amount. Now, if you're not sure what search terms to look for, in week 2, I did a presentation on SEO and we did some keyword research. So if you're interested in learning how to actually figure out what keywords you want to use for advertising, make sure to go back to the website and watch the week 2 presentation because I cover that in depth. So next, whoever bids the highest will show up first. Okay, so again, it's like an auction house. The higher you bid, the higher your ad is going to show up on the search engines. Now, if you want to maximize the efficiency and effectiveness of your Google Ads campaign, you do not want to use Google Smart Campaigns. It's going to chew through your budget and leave you high and dry. You also should be wary about doing it yourself, as there's a lot more that goes into a campaign than is usually anticipated. So, with Google Ads, if you plan on using Google Ads as a long term solution to helping you generate leads, Google Ads is all about data, collecting data, interpreting that data, and then acting on that data. So the last thing you want to do is just have Google's algorithms automatically doing it because it's just going to spit out your budget as much as it can um, without any real guidance. Now, eventually, the way you should run a campaign is you should do everything manually at first. Put all of your keywords in, write up a few different ads, and then watch the performance of that. You're going to be able to analyze the data. Based on that data, you can start removing keywords, you can start adding new keywords, you can add negative keywords. Um, and through that data, you can then fine tune and tweak your advertising campaign to make your budget be more efficient. And the purpose is to keep your budget the same so that you're not having to increase your budget to get more clicks, but rather to analyze this data and to make tweaks to your campaigns so that you can get more clicks with the same amount of money. Now, on a side note, if you do plan on running a Google Ads campaign by yourself, do not put your faith into a Google ad rep. Now, they will contact you when you make an account, when you start spending money. They're going to reach out to you, and they are Google employees, but they're salespeople. They're not ad experts, right? So their goal is to try to get you to put more money into your advertising campaigns to try to get the results that you're looking for. They're not going to help you, figure out how to get into the data and analyze the data to actually make proper tweaks to your campaign. Their whole job is to get you to put more money into the Google machine. Right. Now, there are Google ad reps that agencies work with, and those are the real experts. They're not the ones that work with the small, business owners trying to do it themselves. These are the people who work with agencies that are spending, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars per month with their clients in ad sales. So again, if you are doing it yourself and a Google ad rep reaches out to you, more than likely they're just going to tell you to put more money into the campaign to try and get the results that you're looking for instead of actually helping you analyze the data to make tweaks at the same budget. Now, the great thing about running search ads is that you can start generating leads within a matter of days. However, the real growth of your website will come from search engine optimization. Now, on week 2, I really went into depth on what SEO is and a full-blown, how to do your own SEO campaign. So this section, I'm pretty much just going to summarize what I talked about in week 2. Now, search engine optimization, or SEO, accounts for over 50% of all website traffic. And SEO is what's going to generate the majority of your business eventually. The downside to SEO is that it can take anywhere between 6 to 8 months to start seeing any results from it. And that's because SEO is based on thousands of algorithms, and it takes time for Google to understand your site, see the optimizations that have been made to it, and to essentially grade your website. So a SERP is what we call a search engine results page. So when you type something into Google and you get a page with all of the different results, this is what a SERP is. And SEO helps you rank organically in the SERPs. Now, the organic listings are below the ads and below the Google My Business listings. But 70% of users skip over all of that stuff and go directly to the organic results because they know that's where the most trustworthy information is going to be. It's going to be in that organic spot. That's what the search engine has figured out. Hey, this is going to be the best website for this search term. So users are more likely to go down into those organic results than to click on an ad or to click on the Google My Business listings. Now with SEO, there's 3 main pillars to it. You have your technical SEO, your on-page SEO, and your off-page SEO, which is authority building. And again, if you want to get into the really, technical stuff, go back and watch the week 2 presentation. Technical SEO has to do with optimizing the code and the structure of your site. This is pretty much like everything under the hood of your website, and it's usually always the first thing that you should do in an SEO campaign. And it's an ongoing process as well because you're month over month you're rescanning your website trying to find new issues that pop up or to monitor current issues or non-issues that may be on your website. On-page SEO has everything to do with the content of the pages. So the text, videos, images, internal, external linking, how long your content is, how often you're using your keywords. And one thing to keep in mind too is that the average page that ranks #1 in Google has a word count of about 1,800 words. Now, this has been the case for a few years now, and that tells us that Google loves really good, relevant content. Now, a lot of people kind of get a little bit nervous when they see that. They're like, well, I wasn't that good in English, in high school. I don't really enjoy writing papers, and how am I going to write 1,800 words per page on my website? Um, But if you kind of take a step back and just kind of create an outline, you think, okay, what is it that I'm selling? Am I selling a service? Okay, let me talk a little bit about that service. Let me talk about the process that I use for that service. Let me talk about the tools that I use for that service. So once you actually start to go down that list, all of a sudden the 1800 words is it's a breeze. It doesn't take that long to write that good content. Um, so even though, just at a glance, 1800 words seems like a lot. Once you actually start writing about what it is that you can offer people and how you're better than everybody else, and because you use these tools and these processes, you're going to reach that 1800 word mark without a problem. And the last thing is the off-page SEO. And this is also known as your website authority. So this takes place, completely outside of your website. And the best way that I can describe this to you is it's like a referral system. So if I'm looking for a dentist and I go to 3 different people and they all give me the same business card for the same dentist, then I know that that dentist is going to be a pretty good option to choose. And the same thing happens with websites. When Google crawls through the websites, it goes to the links on the websites, it follows those links to other websites, and if your website has other websites trying to refer their traffic to you, saying, hey, this company is a really good company for what they do or what they sell, Google takes notice of that. And so your authority ranking, which is essentially how trustworthy your website is in the eyes of Google, that authority increases. A higher authority means you rank higher inside of the search engines. It becomes easier to rank for keywords inside of search engines. But again, it's all about that trustworthiness factor of your website and the information contained on that website. But it majorly comes from other websites referring their traffic to your website. Now, one of the big differences, I just want to kind of compare SEO to advertising using a sort of comparison here. When I was a kid, my grandpa used to have an orange tree in his backyard. And so, I used to love going in the afternoons. We'd grab an orange, cut it up, and eat it right there for like a snack or something. And you can think of your website as that orange tree. When you're just building your website, or if you haven't really done much to your website, it's like planting a sapling in the ground. You want oranges, but you don't have an orange tree yet. So you got to plant the sapling. Now, you still want oranges, but that tree is not going to be providing oranges anytime soon. So you have to go to the market to go buy those oranges directly. Now, usually the oranges are going to be a lot more expensive, and you just kind of grab a bag, you try to look in the bag to see if there's any rotting ones. But there could be one hidden in there or something, but you have to go to the market to buy those oranges and then bring them back home. Well, in the meantime, you're nourishing the sapling. You've got a compost pile. You're watering it. You put down insecticide so it doesn't get sick with insects. You have to nourish and grow that orange tree, and then eventually, what'll happen is it'll start to sprout oranges. Now, if we think about this, your website's like the tree. Going to the market is like advertising. Because you need to get them right away. So you're going to have to pay in order to get those leads right away. But in the background, you also want to be running an SEO campaign on your website, which nourishes and grows your websites inside of search engines so that eventually your website is ranking really highly in search engines, it's generating organic traffic, and your website is producing leads for you. So if you're strapped on a very tight budget, if you have a very low budget, I would always recommend to run advertising campaigns first. Do advertising campaign, get some leads, start generating some business first. Then when you can afford it, add in an SEO campaign on top of your advertising campaign. This way you're still generating a consistent amount of leads, but you're working on nourishing and growing your website in the background. Then eventually what you'll start to see in about a year or two is that your website is now generating more leads than your ads are. So now you can start to decrease the amount of advertising that you're doing, and put more into your SEO campaign, or you can target different keywords with your advertising campaign. And then as that grows again, you can start to increase the channels that you're marketing on. So now you've got an advertising campaign, you've got your SEO campaign. It's all generating you a lot of revenue. Now you can start looking at email campaigns. You can start looking at a bunch of other different channels to start marketing your business to then increase the amount of revenue that you're generating. So now we're going to look at marketing to passive customers. And these are people who aren't really sure if they need your product, or they don't even know about your product or your service. And social media is going to be a huge way to advertise your services and your products. And now it's mostly used for brand awareness, customer interaction and engagement, and also building trust in your brand. But you can also advertise quite successfully on these platforms for services or products. But the key to being successful with social media is being consistent. Now, there are a few key factors that your business should consider when it comes to marketing on social media. What social media platforms should you use? Creating a posting schedule so that your fans or your followers can learn to expect a post from you on those certain days. And then, what kind of advertising do you want to run on social media? Now, which social platform should you choose? Right? Well, that really depends on your business and your target demographics. Having a Facebook page is pretty much going to be universal. Every business should have a Facebook page. Now, if the services that you provide are very visual, like you've got some very good before and after images, um, you have that sort of wow factor with your services or your products. Some of these could be like kitchen remodeling, roofing, landscaping, etc. Having an Instagram account can be very beneficial. Products do well on Instagram as well. If your target demographic is businesses, so if you're B2B, LinkedIn is a great way to go to start connecting with other business owners, or whoever it is that you're trying to contact in order to sell your services to. Now, if your target demographic is mostly to younger people, so let's say you sell toys or you provide like summer camps or kid activities, places like TikTok and Snapchat are a great way to market as well. And one that I didn't have listed here, but is actually a really huge way to start gaining some traffic, is YouTube. Now, you may not think about it, but YouTube can be a great way to drive a ton of traffic to your website, and can also be a good way to generate some leads and some business as well. Not to mention, if you grow your YouTube channel, it can be a second form of income through advertising. So you get ad revenue on that. One example that I can use is, let's say if you have a landscaping company. People, you wouldn't believe how many people love to watch somebody mow an overgrown yard, do the edging, the weed eating, the mowing. Those types of videos get millions and millions of views. And you wouldn't think about it, but if you just set up a camera on a tripod in the corner and just did mowed an overgrown yard, you can get tons and tons of views from that, and start building up a YouTube channel where you're just simply recording yourself doing work. Um, so it's another way and another channel for you to kind of generate a lot of traffic, generate a lot of interest in your brand, and your services or your products, and also generating some ad revenue on the side to increase your overall revenue for your business. Now, one of the most important things about social media is being consistent and staying in the limelight. Consistent, thoughtful posts show that your business is active and ready to be engaged. A consistent posting schedule gives you the opportunity to reach more people. Now, in general, posting inspirational quotes every day is not engaging content. It's okay every once in a while, but you want to keep it sparse. The only exception to this is if you own, let's say, like a yoga studio or a wellness and health type business. Then that's more appropriate to post those kinds of things on a daily basis, because that's your target demographic. And that's sort of at the heart of what your business is. It's about holistic health, and putting people in the right state of mind and giving uplifting information and quotes and things like that. But for the majority of businesses, if you're running a pool design or a company or a landscaping company, or if you sell toys or something, inspirational quotes isn't really the way to go. Now, with engaging content, people are more likely to interact with your post, whether it be a like, a follow, a comment, a share. And you want to make sure that you try to interact and engage back with your followers, because they could be current or potential new customers. And you may get lucky and go viral. Now, your goal when doing social media, as tempting as it is to want to go viral, that should never be your goal, because if that's your focus, if you're trying to make a post so that it goes viral, it will never go viral. It's just one of those things where if you have a consistent posting schedule, if you're constantly posting stuff, something funny may happen one day, and then it's just part of your consistent posting schedule, and then that just some random thing goes viral. So it's better to be consistent and to constantly be posting, um, because you have a higher chance of something going viral rather than you trying to focus on going viral and then it'll never happen. And again, consistent posting just makes, it keeps your customers, your followers engaged, right? People are creatures of habit, and they want to know that, hey, oh, it's Tuesday. I know that, this my favorite YouTuber or something posts a video every Tuesday, so I know to go watch their channel. Oh, let me go see what their new video is. And the same thing can be said with just Facebook posts or Instagram posts. People like consistency, and then if you kind of break that, it jostles people. They get uncomfortable. They get uneasy. Again, humans are creatures of habit, so you want to make sure that your posting schedule is almost like a habit. And social media advertising, it can be extremely powerful, but you have to remember that you're not advertising to intent-based customers. These aren't people who are already, knowing that they need to buy your service or their product. This is a passive audience. So there's a lot more work that has to be done in order to convert them into a customer. Now, the great thing about advertising on Facebook is that you can hone in on a very specific target audience. You can filter your audience by location, age, gender, interests, behaviors, and this will allow you to put your products or your services directly in front of the people most likely to become a customer. Now, if you would like a much more in-depth sort of tutorial on how to do this, we actually covered this last week in our week 3 presentation. So if you want to see an example of how to create your target audience and then actually how to advertise to them, make sure to go onto our website and check out the week 3 presentation. Now, the last thing that I want to talk a little bit about today is going to be retargeted marketing. And this is going to be nurturing leads and returning customers. And one of the major ways to do this is through email marketing. And there are two main ways to maximize your email marketing. One is to create lead magnets, and two is to send emails to customers who are already customers or who filled out some sort of a contact form on your website, so that you're retargeting them through emails. So lead magnets are like little freebies that you can offer on your website, whether it's a newsletter sign up form or a free download. But in order to download it, you have to, type in your email address. Um, these gathered emails can then be put into an email marketing platform like MailChimp or Constant Contact, so that you can target them based on how you got their emails. So this is a great way to create a sales funnel that pushes a visitor that is interested potentially in more information into becoming a paying customer. So for instance, if you're, let's say, a lawn care company and you post, a blog post about, which types of grass are the best ones to use in your area, and then how to take, the best methods to take care of that grass and maintain it. And in that blog post, you have a PDF that's kind of like a, how to maintain this type of grass. If they if they have to type in their email address to download that, they're obviously interested in learning how to maintain that type of grass. Now, initially you may think, well, if they're looking for a DIY solution, they're not going to hire me. So, what's the point of doing this? Well, if that PDF that they download is so detailed and you go through your entire process and all the tools that you use in order to make very luscious green grass, and maintain that year round, the person who initially thought, oh, I can do it myself, will now start to seem like, wow, this is a lot of work. I don't really have time to do all this. I don't really want to do all of this. So let me just go ahead and hire that company anyway, right? But because they put in their email address into that form in order to download that PDF, you now have their email address. You now have, how they put their email address in for that grass maintenance PDF. So you know that through the emails you can retarget them and say, hey, we've got a 10% off for the first month if you sign a 12-month contract with us, or hey, here's some more tips on how to do it yourself. And by retargeting those people, you're keeping your business in the front of their mind so that when they realize, hey, this is way too much work, I'm just going to hire somebody, you're going to be the first person that they think of, especially if that PDF has your branding all over it. So it's a great way, to create a lead magnet that gets people to wanting, to download that piece of information that you're giving out for free in exchange for their email address, and then you can continue to market them over time. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is the retargeted marketing. So this is going to, allow you to create repeat customers. And this is usually done by sending out emails to current and past customers about things like special promotions, discounts, giving them a reason to come back again and again. And you can also keep them up to date with the latest news about your company. Again, keeping your business in front of the customer. Now, just like social media, consistency is the key to successful email marketing campaigns. You don't want it to be sporadic, but you don't want to email customers too frequently, because you could end up being listed as a spam emailer, which will eventually result in all of your emails just automatically being sent to the spam folder. Even if it's to somebody completely new, because your domain has been flagged as a spam emailer, you may not even reach those new potential customers. Um, so usually what I recommend, if you've got a newsletter, make it like a monthly newsletter type deal. That way it's like once a month you're reaching out, you're letting people know what's going on inside of your business or your new products or services, or things like that. It's a little bit different if you have like a wholesaler's email list where you have to constantly send them emails on price updates, new products and things like that. It's a little bit different. Um, but if it's just for an end user, for things like newsletters, again, try to keep it to like once a month. And you want to make sure that you make your emails meaningful. You want the information inside of your emails to have, good content inside of them. You don't want them to just kind of have no purpose except for the fact of just emailing, to keep your brand in front of them. You want those emails to have sustenance, and you want them to have a goal. So every email that you send should have a goal. There should be some sort of a call to action in your emails, because again, you're trying to get people to come back to you. You're trying to get return customers, or you're trying to target those people who downloaded that PDF, to hire you to do that type of service, right? So that is all I've got for today. I think we have hit our time limit. But some actions for you today before we get to the Q&A section. If you don't have one, get a score mentor. It's free, and they're there to help you. These are all very successful people. They're all mostly, they're retired business owners or executives who know the business industry inside and out. They can help you run your business. They can give you all of the information that you could possibly need. If one mentor is not enough, then they'll reach out to another mentor who may have more, specialty in that area that you're having issues with. And after this presentation, you should be getting an email with a survey, or it may pop up here at the end. But please, fill that out. Let me know how well I did today, if I was able to give you good information, what you would choose to change for future webinars so that we can improve ourselves. And then just, go out, go to our website, sign up for a free score mentor, because again, it's free and we're just here to help you. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the Q&A section. I think we've got about 7 questions right now. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. If we get to 1 o'clock and I haven't answered your question yet, I'll try to stay on and answer them. Otherwise, you can email me directly with any questions that you have at jeremy.petty@scorevolunteer.org, and I'll reach out to you directly to answer your questions. So let me go ahead and pull up the Q&A real quick. All right, so the first question we have here is, what if you're new to having a website and starting out your new company? How do you show testimonials or reviews being new? So this one it comes down to your ethics, really. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll put up fake testimonials and reviews just to make it appear as though, they've done some good work for some other people. But it is really hard when you're brand new because you want to have that social proof, but if you don't have any social proof, it's hard to get some when you're just starting out. So what I would do is, and it really depends on your service or what you're trying to sell. But if you can, try to do some free consulting. Like something that I did when I was first starting out my digital marketing company. I just started off giving consultations, analyzing people's um, their current campaigns, showing them what they could be doing differently to try and increase click-through rates or increase impressions or increase their search engine optimization. And from that, I was able to start to gather some reviews and some testimonials. Um, but it's definitely a tricky thing. It's kind of like nowadays, you've got entry level positions who require 4 years of experience, but you don't have any experience because it's an entry level position. So it's one of those things where it's definitely hard to show social proof if you don't have any. So all I can say is try to make up for it in your service. Try, when you're talking to a potential customer or client, really be personable with them. Just try to make them feel at home. Try to make them feel extremely comfortable, and try to make up for the fact that you don't have any social proof yet. The next question. The only issue that I have is that my Google My Business is primarily for brick and mortar business. So Google My Business it's definitely geared more towards your brick and mortar businesses. However, if you don't have a brick and mortar location, you can still put in a service area that you serve. So again, if we kind of take the landscaping example, you can go into Google My Business and say, I service all of Sarasota, Manatee counties. And depending on how well you rate, what your reviews are and things like that, your company will still rank very highly for any search terms for people looking for yard maintenance or things like that, even if you don't have a brick and mortar location. So even if you don't have that, it's still extremely important to have your Google My Business listing. And again, the second reason is for SEO on your website. So if you have a Google My Business listing and you link it to your website, Google automatically knows, hey, this website is, linked to a verified business listing, which means that it improves your rankings on your website. So nonetheless, you should still have it to help improve your SEO overall. In Google Ads, do we use long tail or short tail keywords? And this is a very good question. I did go over this in week 2 during the SEO keyword research. But what you want to do in Google Ads is use what's called the Google Keyword Planner. If you have a Google Ads account, it's up at the top in the tools drop down. You can go into the tools and there's a keyword planner. And what that'll allow you to do is type in your services and your location, and it'll actually give you the keywords that people are searching for in order to find those services. Um, Now, long tail or short tail keywords, as far as SEO, I think it's a little bit more important in the SEO arena than it is for Google Ads. because, like I said, the keyword planner will give you exactly the keywords that people are searching for. Um, and that's the other thing with Google Ads, that when you're typing in the keywords, unlike SEO, where if you're ranking for long tail keywords, you'll automatically rank for short tail keywords. With Google Ads, it depends on the way that you input the keyword. So if you have, let's say, exact match keyword, then your ad will not show up for a short tail version of a long tail keyword. Now, if you use more of like a broad match or a phrase match when you put in those keywords, then you will start to also show up for the short tail version of long tail keywords. So for that, it really depends on the way that you're inputting those keywords, whether it's exact match, broad match, or phrase match, uh, whether or not you're going to be showing up for the different variations. That's a little bit more of an advanced topic. Maybe we can create a new webinar in the future to go over a complete advertising Google Ads campaign. But for that, like I said, it depends on the way that you input the keywords into your campaign. Next, I was contacted by one of these people and they wanted me to pay over $300 when I still can't have my business validated. Yep. So I'm going to assume that that's a Google Ads rep, because I think that was what I was talking about at that time. Um, yeah. So again, that's just goes to show that, hey, these Google Ad reps, they're just there to try and get you to put money into the Google machine without really helping you optimize that campaign or run it properly. Um, Now, having your business validated, I'm not sure what you mean by that. That could just be your Google My Business listing not being validated or not being able to validate it because maybe you have like a PO box or something. And that's one thing that I should mention too with your Google My Business listing, is that you have to have a physical address in order to verify your business, because they send you a postcard in the mail. And Google wants an actual physical location. They will not accept PO boxes or like virtual boxes or any virtual office locations and things like that. You may be able to get away with a virtual office, but for the most part, if it's a PO box, they will not accept it. So in that case, in order to get your business listing verified, you can just use your home address, have them email the postcard to your home address. But when you're setting up your Google My Business listing, um, uncheck the box where it says you have a physical location and say instead you service an area. This way, when they send you a postcard with the verification code to your home address is not shown inside of the Google search engine. It is completely private and hidden, but it's only used for you to verify your business. So hopefully that helps that question. I have a strong presence on social media and video using storytelling. Yep, that's a great way. Even I think Facebook has the new sort of short stories. YouTube also has the short stories. Um, but storytelling is a great way to get people hooked on whatever it is that you may be, trying to sell or trying to provide to people, even if it's um, you know, uh, like personal um, preference, or they're trying to help somebody overcome something else. Creating a story really helps people stay engaged with whatever it is that you're trying to tell them. There are a couple of different ways to do a Facebook advertising, like promoting local business or other. Yep. So with Facebook, there are two different ways that you can essentially advertise. The first way is to boost a post. And so that's basically, you post something to your Facebook page, then you can pay to get it to reach a target audience. And the other way is through Facebook advertising. And this is more of a back end thing where you're creating ads that don't show up on your Facebook page, but you still want to advertise to those people. Now, promoting a local business is great. You can, and again, just like Google advertising, Facebook advertising allows you to hone in on specific locations. So if you are a local business, you can, let's say, you're in Sarasota County, you can edit your target audience to only people inside of Sarasota County that you're advertising to. Let's see. Business manager is super confusing. Do you have any advice setting this up? So I'm going to assume this is the Facebook business manager, which I absolutely agree is super confusing. But to set up your business manager account on Facebook, you have to have a personal account. And then what you're going to do is go to business.facebook.com and sign up for a business manager account. Once you go through that process, you're going to have to pull your business page that you created from your personal page. And the business page will, instead of being owned by you, it'll be owned by the business manager account. So the business manager account was designed to really help you keep all of your business aspects on Facebook under one roof. So it has your advertising in there, it has your Facebook page. You have your if you manage other people's Facebook pages, it'll be listed in there too. It is very, very confusing. I don't personally like it, but I know there are a ton of YouTube videos out there that will help you set that up. And if you want me to help you out, feel free to email me, and then maybe we can get together and I can walk you through the process. Is Google Ads more effective than Facebook or Instagram ads? So this depends on who you're trying to market towards. So, like I said, if you know that your customer already knows about your service or your product, if they are actively searching for what you can provide to them, then Google Ads is going to be much more effective. If you're trying to advertise to people who don't necessarily know about your services, your product, and you're trying to get the awareness out there and also try to sell them that product, then Facebook and Instagram is going to be a better bet. Search engines, again, are for intent-based users. So if you know that your end user is already searching for what you can provide them, then I highly recommend doing Google Ads. Do you have any tips for setting up conversion tracking via Facebook and Instagram ads for e-commerce clients, specifically Shopify? Do you set up Google Analytics goals or track via Ads Manager? So what I would personally do, number one, make sure you've got your Facebook pixel installed on your website. It should be inside of your ads manager, the ads account. There should be inside business manager, there should be a section for data where you can go in there and create a Facebook pixel. But once you have that pixel installed, what I would recommend is setting up a flow inside of Google Analytics with the goals. You can say, okay, this is the page that they'll land on. You want to track, and the cool thing about Shopify is that they have specific actions and specific pages that you can track to see a client's journey. So you know if they went to from a product, they went to the cart page, and then they went to the checkout page, and then they went to let's say a confirmation page. You can set that up inside of Google Analytics just from the specific URLs, so that you can track those goals and you can see the sort of customer progression through the checkout phase. And then you can also see where they drop out at. You can see how many of those people who came from the Facebook ad or the Instagram ad campaign, how many of them are actually going through the entire process. Personally, I would track it through Google Analytics, but having both Google Analytics and also setting up your goals inside of the Facebook ads, having both of those is going to be very helpful because then you can kind of go back and compare the two, because sometimes the Facebook ads manager that tracks the activity that people do, sometimes it's incomplete, sometimes it doesn't pick up on certain things, or sometimes it registers page views, or it registers a form submission as a conversion even though you're trying to track um, uh, you know um, e-commerce purchases. So the Facebook ads, their tracking and conversion tracking is, for the most part, it's pretty good. But I have experienced some of those where it didn't track 100% accurately, but then I was able to go back because I set it up in Google Analytics. I can go back and actually see, okay, these are all of the people coming to this landing page from this advertising campaign, and then following them through that sort of funnel, and then getting towards, how many people actually bought from my store. So I would have both, and then just either weekly or monthly, just go back and compare the two to see if they're the same. Having more, analytics is always better than going over one versus the other. Next, Google My Business asks for a physical location. I have a PO box, but it won't take a PO box. So I just answered this from another question. Um, if your business has a PO box, then I would highly recommend checking that you service an area and that you don't have a physical location. And then you just have to put in your home address or somewhere where you can receive physical mail, outside of a PO box, and get the verification postcard that way. And again, if you do it that way, your home address will not show up inside of Google. The only address that shows up is the one that you put in if you say you do have a physical location, or if you go in at a later time and put in a location for your business listing. So the last question that we have here, I'm thinking of offering marketing for this software as a service. Niche, would Google ads or Facebook ads be more effective for them? Does this niche need services like that, to your knowledge? Absolutely, software as a service, and all of that, definitely. You see a lot of growth from marketing. The trick is do people, and this is really the key question, but the people that you're trying to market to, do they know what they're looking for, or do they, are they unaware completely of, that service? Usually what you can do is a retargeted marketing campaign through like Google Ads, or you can do Facebook marketing based on people's interests, and their, let's say their occupation, what their job title is. So if you're trying to target specifically somebody in, a certain position at a company, and that's the person who would ultimately be responsible for purchasing those plans for their company, again, it just boils down to whether or not those people know, what you're offering. So if it's something like, let's say, an email service like Constant Contact or Mailchimp, someone's gonna type, they're gonna be looking for an email provider or email marketing software platform. So yeah, you're gonna have to do some target audience research. You're gonna have to figure out, do do my potential customers know about the service that I'm trying to provide, or do they not? If they do know it and they're actively searching for it, you want to advertise on Google. If they don't know about it, if it's something completely new, then you would be best off trying to advertise inside of social media and targeting people that way. And the last question, we got two more. If a business has two locations, do you recommend having one Google My Business page or two separate ones? So you want to have one business listing per location. And inside of Google My Business, you can actually group um, business listings together. So if you are managing, let's say if you're part of a franchise and you own multiple franchise locations, or if you're in charge of the Southeast, or if you're over, if you're checking, or if you're managing all of them, but you need to organize them into different districts or something, you can actually group them into folders. But I highly recommend having one business listing page per location. And that just tremendously helps with the ranking. Um, and plus, maybe the different services or the different locations offer a little bit slightly different services or different products. But definitely have one location, or one business listing per location. And I think that is the last of the questions that we have for today. Again, if you do have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me at my email that's below. You will be getting an email after this with a link to the recording and the presentation slides themselves. So if you ever want to look back on that, you can. And we look forward to having you all in our next webinar. And with that, again, if you need help with your business, if you need some advice, if you're looking for some mentoring, please go to our website and sign up for a mentor. Again, they are free and they're so beneficial. So thank you everyone for coming out, and we hope to see you again next time.